actually look.
That's like the least
extrinsic
important
properties
thing
would
of
be
a
the
painting.
relationship the artwork
Most
had
of them
with
look like
everything
shit.
else. Who it was painted
Like a
by,
Jackson
when it
Pollock.
was painted, the context in which it was painted, and how sought after the piece is are all important qualities. When it comes to perceived value, it is the extrinsic qualities of a collectible that raises the cost significantly. Van Gogh paintings often sell for tens of millions of dollars. But
At least
if
his
we
are
were to
kinda cool.
program a robot to paint an identical piece, it wouldn't be worth much more than the cost of the paint and the canvas. Ultimately, both pieces would look the same on our wall. But us weird and wacky humans like to care about the details that don't directly impact us. We are even willing to spend millions of dollars more than we need to because of these details. In the 17th century, during the Dutch Golden Age, an event happened known as tulip mania, where the price of tulip bulbs reached insane levels. At the time, tulip bulbs were a luxury item that were highly desired for their intense colors, and as their popularity slowly increased over the years, the price inevitably went up. Eventually, people began noticing the trend of rising prices and started to speculate on the market. Speculating means buying a good not due to need, but purely in the hopes that the price will increase so that you can sell it at a later date for profit. With investors beginning to flood the tulip market, this began a positive feedback loop, driving prices up even more. As the price increased faster, not wanting to miss out on the opportunity, even more people started buying in. This caused the first recorded speculative bubble in history. And there are two important things to know about these types of bubbles. First, no one buying actually wants tulips. They just hope to make
We gotta get the
zombos.
the zombinos on the nose, and the zombinos on the no. Oh shit.
Oh shoot, we got tunnel 6.
Those left holding tulips lose as their value plummets back to normal.
Go!
Yeah, well, don't buy tulips.
Because the exact same
Chuck,
thing
now's
is
your time to
happening
be a
with
big
video
shot.
games right now.
Yeah, go
But
Chuck!
the difference is that this current video game
Go
bubble
kick some
isn't an
ass!
accident. You see, if you know how speculative bubbles
Hey,
work,
Beanie
you
Babies!
can
Fuck
theoretically
yeah.
create them at will.
I remember that
All
bubble.
you would have to do is raise the perceived price of a good quick enough so that speculators see the trend and start entering the market. Then you can just sit back and let the positive feedback loop do the work. Profiting from your artificially created bubble by buying games early and selling later is rather obvious, but there are actually smarter ways to make money. Ways that
First gaming
incur
console I
far
did
less
was
risk.
Nintendo 64.
In the current video game market and the collectible market in general, there are two institutions that stand to gain the most from increasing prices. Those are grading companies and auction houses.
Grading companies are a scam.
Is a business that inspects games,
Big fucking
certifies
scam.
them, and gives them a rating of quality. They are basically quality assurance. They allow buyers to know exactly what they are getting, which enables quick and easy transactions. In a bubble, people are flocking to get their games graded in the hopes of profiting from the increasing prices. But it's not just the extra business that helps grading companies, as they also take a percentage of the market value when grading a game. A game worth $10,000 might cost around $400 to have graded, but if that exact same game was valued at $1 million, it would cost over $20,000 to have graded. It's a pretty good deal. But the institution that really profits the most by far is auction houses. Take Heritage Auctions, for example, which is where all of the current record-breaking video game sales are taking place. They charge a 20% buyer's premium on every sale. So if you buy a video game for $1 million, you need to pay the auction house $200,000 on top.
Holy shit!
And just for shits and giggles, they also take 5% from the seller as well. You can begin to see why
Who would do that?
And auction houses would really want prices to go up. It's in their interest. This is also why grading companies and auction houses should never be speculating on the price of goods or impacting markets directly. They have a huge conflict of interest. And whenever you see a grading company or an
I would never do that.
talking about how
I don't grade shit. I don't buy graded shit on purpose or anything. I go to auction houses to buy graded shit.
All of this in mind. I'm going to provide you with a ton of information, and I'm going to trust you to connect the dots. If you are really interested in learning what's going on,
let's go.
I suggest writing down details as we go, or watching sections more than once. Let's begin. The two institutions that you will become very familiar with are Water Games, the video game grading company, and Heritage Auctions, the auction house. Water Games is the linchpin behind this entire bubble, and the certification that Water provides is the
Does WATA
justification
stand for
why they
something,
are
or is it
sold
just
at
literally
such high
WATA?
prices. Interestingly, Wata wasn't the first video game grading company to exist. In fact, the Video Game Authority, aka VGA, has been grading games since 2008. But the introduction of VGA didn't cause a bubble like the introduction of Wata Games did. And the reason is simple. VGA didn't manipulate the market or go out of their way to create
Still a scam, fuck grading.
Said for Wata, however. The president and CEO of Wata Games is Dennis Khan, and he is a key player. The other important company, Heritage Auctions, was founded in 1976 by Steve Ivey and Jim Halperin.
Our album's
Steve
coming
Ivey
out on
is very
vinyl, isn't
important
like
to
a
the
collector
story,
thing.
But Jim, on the other hand, is critical. Heritage Auctions are in the business of selling rare collectibles and memorabilia. They sell coins, comics, art, anything you can collect that has value. And in 2019, they started selling video games. But not just any video games, only games that have been graded through Wata Games. The interesting thing about the relationship between Wata and Heritage is that it seems to have existed before Wata even began grading games. On the initial website of Wata, when it launched, it had a dealer spotlight section where it listed key relationships. One was Heritage Auctions, where it stated that Wata certified video games will be featured in Heritage online auctions. This doesn't make sense. The entire point of certification is to guarantee authenticity and quality, but a guarantee is worthless if you haven't established a history of accurate work. Why would Heritage Auctions, a prestigious auction house, agree to sell games from a company that hadn't graded a single game? Why would they trust a business
because Dennis looks smart.
Any business to begin with, when there was already an existing grading company that had been grading games for 10 years? The only explanation to me is that Heritage Auctions was involved in some way in the creation of Wata Games, and knew that he was on board with their mutual goals. And if you needed any further evidence of this pre-existing relationship, Jim Halperin, the founder of Heritage Auctions, was listed on the Wata website as an advisor. Another business that Wata had a relationship upon creation was Just Press Play, a distributor of used video games which was founded by Zach Geig. Just Press Play also announced that it would be selling Wata certified games. Now, in order to create a speculative bubble, you need a way to spread information very quickly. You need to draw in new eyes, and make potential buyers aware that a market is building. The easiest way to achieve this by far is to create headline-worthy events that can disseminate through the media. In this case, it was the purchase of a Super Mario Bros. Cart for $100,000 in February of 2019. Before this sale, the previous most expensive video game ever sold went for $30,000, so this new sale was a pretty big deal, big enough to generate headlines. But the even more interesting thing is who bought this game. It was purchased by 3 men. The first was Jim Halperin, founder and chairman of Heritage Auctions. The second was Zach Geig, founder and owner of Just Press Play. The third was Richard Lecce, who has one of the largest video game collections on the planet. Heritage Auctions then issued a press release about the sale, because of course the purchase was never about collecting the game, it was about publicity. And if this wasn't obvious enough, Jim Halperin advertised in this press release that the game may end up in a future auction. Dennis Khan, CEO of Wata Games, also chimed in, stating, quote, Wata certified video games have been selling for record prices ever since Heritage began auctioning them in January. While many video games sell regularly for 5 figures, breaking the 6-figure mark shows that the hobby's upward trajectory indicates no signs of slowing down. So what you have here is the chairman of the auction house buying a game for a record price and then creating a press release about his own purchase in which himself and the president of the grading company are stating that the value of games is going up. He then advertises that his own game will be going up for auction in the future through his own auction house, and his plan worked. The press immediately jumped on this, and many articles about the purchase were written. Khan's tactic of pumping up the perceived value of games would be seen in every article.
It looks like he has a little
shark
fin.
In a Kotaku article, Khan states, I've always said, video games are going to go the way of comics or cars or coins. It's only a matter of time until a video game sells for $1 million.
Thanks,
In an
Resub
Ars
Sean.
Technica article, both Khan and Halperin were again pumping up the perceived value of games, with Halperin stating, "There are bets on what will someday be the first $1 million game, and many collectors believe that this will be the one." It's so strange to me that news articles allow the owner of a game to advertise that its worth is 10 times what they paid for, and not a single eyebrow is raised. They did everything they could to raise awareness about the sale. They even took the cart onto Pawn Stars, claiming it was worth $1 million. This appearance was the perfect opportunity to establish Wata Games
Tier 1
as
gin.
the authority in grading, despite having only existed less than a tenth of the time that VGA had. Pawn Stars even had Dennis Khan come on, and again he pumped up the value, implying that it was worth at least 3 times
Wait, what
they
the
paid.
fuck? Did they pay Pawn Stars for this? Because he owns the company that graded this. Wouldn't it be like a massive conflict of interest there? They had to like a paid history channel, right? Like there's no way. Thanks for the 5 gift subs, Tyler Flint and the resub Hamby and tier
That it
1
was worth
the
at
Moose.
least 3 times what they paid. Remember what I said about grading companies.
Obviously Pawn
They
Stars isn't
shouldn't be
real, but this is
manipulating the
very
market
different
and
than what they
driving up
usually do.
prices. Dennis even faced backlash about this from intelligent collectors who knew what he was up to. But of course, this didn't stop him. He went on Pawn Stars multiple times, valuing games at insane prices. I can give you dozens of examples, but the point is that there was a very large, very effective campaign to establish Wata as the authority on video games, despite having only been created. It was critical that Wata was seen as the be-all and end-all in video game grading, because then the words of its CEO, Dennis Khan, would be more effective in increasing the value of games. Khan would continue to abuse his authority as the head of Wata Games for the next few years, appearing in countless articles and interviews, and always pumping up the price. In fact, he's still doing it, even with the ridiculous price of $1.5 million that the recent Super Mario 64 went for in July. In a Verge article covering the record-breaking sale, Khan states, "I think that we are going to continue to see record-breaking sales." Again, this is purely to make people believe the price will continue to go up in order to fuel speculation. All of this press is driving up prices, but it's only one half of the equation.
Are Mizkif's boxes Wata?
Games, but
Not
the
VGA?
people buying these games aren't who you'd expect. If you thought they were video game collectors hoping to complete their collection, you'd be wrong. Let's take a look at who is really buying up
Miz
these
has
games.
VGA. Okay.
Video game collecting has taken an interesting turn in the past few years. Over the last decade or so, I've been a big fan of watching collectors' videos on YouTube, where they proudly show off what they've amassed. In my experience, genuine collectors love sharing their prized possessions, but that's not what we're seeing with these record-breaking sales.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the buyers
I
of
mean,
these expensive
this
games
could have
are
been sub
hidden
9
from the
if I
public.
did get waypoints
Identities
first.
are
Prime
kept
cousin.
secret, and no one
Or
takes credit
second
for
hit, I mean.
anything. It's all really strange. Heritage auctions
still
will
gonna
never
wreck you?
tell you who the buyers
No.
are, or even if